Hi everybody, it's Crystal. So today I'm going to teach you how to crochet this hat here that you just seen. This is made with the Jasmine stitch. It's not a hard stitch to do. Once you get the hang of it, it's actually quite easy. So this hat is seamless, as you can see, and it's worked from the top down. So it's a nice thick hat because it's, you know, the Jasmine stitch is otherwise known as the puffed star stitch. That's generally what I would call it, but technically I guess it is the Jasmine stitch. Alright, so why don't we take a measurement here with that brim on it here. 8 inches. You can do, I talk about, you can do different brims if you want, or you can leave the brim off and just make it strictly the Jasmine stitch if you'd like. So, I actually thought this would be quite the yarn eater, but, it really wasn't. It did take, this is all I have left of a hank of yarn. So it did, you know, it did take, right at 200 yards, to make it, but it's really pretty. I like it a lot. It's so thick. I like the way it's seamless, and I like that it's, top down. I'm not big on bottom up beanies myself, but I do make them from time to time. So do you guys want to go ahead and get started on it? Okay, I'll talk about the yarn. Don't be intimidated by it, alright? The first row is probably going to be the most fiddly row. After that, it's easy. Okay, it's easy anyways. What I used for this particular hat was Malabrigo worsted. It is it's 100% merino, 210 yards, and like I said, I might have 10 yards left, so it is a 4-weight yarn, roving style. So it took about 200 yards of a 4-weight yarn to complete this hat. There is no color number for this. It's just a single dye lot. I do want to mention though, if you do decide to go not to put the brim on it and maybe do more of the Jasmine star stitches, it will probably take more yarn. Probably, I would imagine. A little bit more, but anyway, so this should fit about 19 to 22 inch size head. So, oh, and the hook I'm using is a size I, which is a 5.5 millimeter crochet hook. Let's go ahead and do this, all right? You got it. Let's do it. Okay, so as I mentioned, this is worked from the top down. So we have to increase those Jasmine stitches as we go. So we're going to start off with a slip knot on our hook. Now remember, I did say row 1 would probably be the most fiddly row. But after that, it's easy. All right. So we're going to go and we're going to work a chain of 2. 1 and 2. So we're going to be working back into that first chain. So we're going to do a 1 puff of the Jasmine stitch. All right. So what we're going to do is draw up a loop a little bit like that. So you got 1, 2 chains, and then you draw up a little bit. We're going to yarn over and go back into that back bump of the first loop. Like that. And draw up a loop. We now need to do that 3 times. So that was number 1. Again, yarn over. Go into the same spot, draw up a loop. That's 2 times. Again, yarn over, go into the same spot. Back up. And that is 3 times that we did that. And we have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 loops on our hook. Now we have to yarn over and go through all 7, but we have to do it in a special way. All right. Take your finger and put it in between the yarn and where you pull through. So the yarn, this piece doesn't go all the way through. Let me show you. I got my finger here. Grab your yarn and pull it through all the loops on your hook. Now you see how your finger is keeping that yarn out? That's what you want. Now you want to take your hook and grab that yarn like that. Oh, without it splitting. Grab it like that. And then what you can do is give it a little tug and it'll tighten up that puff. And then yarn over and pull through that loop like that. And then yarn over and go through both loops on your hook and chain 1. So that is the first puff of the Jasmine stitch. All right, so now we got to do 2 puffs. 2 puffs, all right? I'm going to show you how we're going to do that. We're going to be working in this space, little hole right here, which is going to be the eye of the star eventually. So we're going to draw up just a little bit. We're going to yarn over and go into that spot right there, draw up a loop, and we need to do that 3 times. So that's 1, 2, and that's 3 times we did that in that spot. Now we have to make another puff down here in that very first stitch where we made our first puff, and we do it the same way with all these loops still on our hook. We're going to yarn over, go down here into that same spot, and draw up a loop 3 times. So there's 1, 2, and 3, and you should have 13 loops on your hooks. Okay, 13 loops. We got to go through all 13, but we have to keep this, our main yarn, from going all the way through. So I just kind of put my finger there or something, hold it with your thumb and finger, anything to keep that yarn from sliding through. Grab the yarn, see how I put my finger there? Go through all those loops on your hook like that. And then you take your hook and you put it in through that loop that was on your finger. Now you can take it and pull it tight. Just pull that yarn tight like that. And grab your yarn and pull it through that 1 loop. And then we have 2 loops on our hook. We're just going to yarn over and go through those 2 like it's like a single crochet. Just like that. And there you did 2 loops, like 2 puffs. Then we're going to chain 1, and we need to do 2 puffs again in that same manner. So draw up a loop again, and we're going to go into this space here, which is going to act as the eye of a star again. Yarn over, go in, draw up a loop, and we need to do that 3 times. That was 1, 2, and 3. Now with all these loops on our hook, we got to go back down to the very first spot where we worked our very first chain there and do it again. Yarn over, go into that same spot. We need to do that 3 times. 1, 2, 3. So we got all those loops on our hook. Put your finger there. So this does not go all the way through. Grab that yarn and go pull it through like that. And then take your hook and get that loop off your finger like that. Now that it's on your hook, you can take your main yarn and pull it tight like that. And then yarn over and go through that 1 loop, and that'll leave you 2 loops that remain. Yarn over and go through those 2 loops, kind of just like you're doing a single crochet like that, and chain 1. So this is what we're going to continue doing until we get a total of 6 puffs in the middle to form 1 star. All right, let's do it again. So we're going to go in this spot right here, drop a loop, yarn over, go into that spot, pull up. We need to do that 3 times. That was 1. There's 2. Again, that's 3. Now we have to come back down here to the very first spot down here and do yarn over and go into that spot 3 times total as well. So there's 1, 2, one more time, and that is 3. So we got all those loops on our hook. Again, we need to put our finger there. We cannot let this yarn go through all the way. So go ahead and grab it and pull it through all those loops, but don't let it go all the way through. See that? Now you can take your hook and take it off your finger, and once it's on your hook, take your main yarn and pull your puffs tight like that, and then yarn over and go through that first loop like that was on your finger. 2 loops left, yarn over and go through both loops like single crochet and chain 1. And we did it again. We did it again. All right, and now we got to do it again. You ready? Draw up a little bit, yarn over and go through this spot right here 3 times. That's 1, 2, 3. Now we got to go back down here again to where we've been putting our very first stitch here, and do the yarn over, draw up 3 times again, yarn over, draw up. There's 1, that's 2, 1 more time makes 3. Okay, now we got to go through all these loops, but we cannot let it lose our yarn. So grab your yarn, keep your finger here, pull through all those loops like that. Now you can take your hook and grab that yarn off your finger. Once it's off your finger, you can take your main yarn, pull your puffs tight with your main yarn like that, and then you can grab that yarn and go through that 1 loop that was on your finger. 2 loops remain, yarn over and go through those 2 loops and chain 1. All right, so it's kind of starting to look a little like something, right? Okay, so right now, if you look, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 puffs in the center. All right, now once we get the 5 puffs, we're going to end it now. Instead of doing 2 puffs like we've been doing, we're going to do 3. All right, so I'll show you how it's done. All right, I'm going to show you how it's done. So we're going to draw up, and we're going to go in this spot, just like normal, yarn over, and go through it 3 times. There's 1, 2, and there's 3. And then we're going to go through that center spot, just like we did before, 3 times, yarn over. There's 1, 2, and 3. Now to end it, we have we have to do 3 puffs. So we've done 2, 1, 2. We got 3. We got 2 on our hook. We need to do 1 more. So our last one goes into over here, the eye of the first puff we made. All right. So we're going to yarn over, go all the way over there into the eye of that first puff, and yarn over and draw up 3 times. 1, 2. I know it's a little awkward, but you can do it. Don't worry. You got it. You got it. 3. Don't give up. Even if it takes a few times. It took me a few times to get that one down. Okay. Now we got to yarn over and go through all of them, but we can't let our main yarn go through. Okay. So keep your finger there. Make sure it don't go through. Go through all of them. Like that. And then you can take your hook and take that loop off your finger. And then you want to take your main yarn and pull it tight like that. And then you take your main yarn and pull it through that one that was on your finger. And then you have 2 left. Do it as tight as you can. Yarn over and go through all 2, or both of them, like a single crochet. And then we're going to chain 1. And that is round 1. You finished it. We finished it. Now that might take you a couple times to do it, alright? It might. I haven't worked a Jasmine stitch in a while, so It took me a couple tries, more than a couple. That's okay. You got this. So we got our 6 points to our star now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And on the outside, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 puffs. Now we're going to need some sort of stitch marker. I'm just going to use a piece of yarn here. And what you want to do is just pull it out here so you don't lose it. Put it right here in the eye of the star. All right. I probably should use a different color, but that's okay. All right, so I switched colors there so I could see my stitch marker. All right, so now we're going to start row 2, and we're going to be doing sets of 2 puffs and sets of 3 puffs. All right. So first off, we're going to do a set of 2 puffs. All right. So we're going to start right here where our stitch marker is. So draw up a loop, yarn over, and go into that spot. We need to do that 3 times. 1, 2, 3, and then the next puff goes into the next, right here where the next eye of the star is, the next star is. Yarn over and go into that one 3 times. There's 1, 2, and 3. Now we're going to go through all of the loops on our hook, but we can't let this go all the way through. So go ahead and pull through like that, and then take it off your finger like that, and take your main yarn and pull it tight. There we go, like that. And then we yarn over and go through that one loop that was on our finger like that. 2 loops left, yarn over and go through those like a single crochet and chain 1. That. Now we're going to do another set of 2 puffs, working in the eye of, working right here, and then working right here in the eye of the star that we just worked in. All right, so we're going to start right here. Draw up a loop, yarn over, go in 3 times. There's 1, 2, 3, and then we come right back down here to where we just worked that eye of that star there. Do it again. Yarn over and go into that spot 3 times. That's 1, 2, and there's 3. And again, we got to go through all the loops without losing our main yarn. So go ahead and go through all of them like that. Put your hook, take that off your finger. Once it's off your finger, you got to pull your main yarn really tight so it tightens up like that. And then yarn over and go through that one that was on your hook like that. 2 left, yarn over and go through those 2 and chain 1. All right, you see a little bit of formation taking place. All right, so now what we're going to do is a set of 3 puffs. So we're going to go into this spot with the puff, back in this spot again with the puff, and then over here to the eye of the next star right here. Let's do it. All right, draw up, yarn over and go to into that spot 3 times. There's 1, 2, and 3. Then we come right back down here to the same spot we've been working in and do it again. Yarn over and go into that spot 3 times. There's 1, there's 2, there's 3. And then we need to come all the way over here. You find the next little spot that would be the eye of the star, so right there, and we do it again. We yarn over and go into that spot 3 times. So there's 1, 2, and 3. We got all those loops on our hook. And we got to go through all of them, but we can't, remember, we can't never let our main yarn go through. So go ahead and go through all of them. Like that. And then you could take your hook and take that yarn off your finger and take it and pull it tight. Okay? Then you could take your main yarn and pull it through that one loop that was on your finger. You got 2 loops that remain. Yarn over and go through those 2 and chain 1. So that was 3 loops we did, or 3 puffs we did. So now what we're going to do is a set of 2 puffs. So right here and then right here. Okay, draw up a little bit, yarn over and go through this space 3 times. There's 1, 2, 3, and then the next spot right there, do the same thing, yarn over and go through it 3 times. 1, 2, 3. So we got 2 puffs. We're going to yarn over and go through all of them, but we can't let our main yarn go through. Just like that. Take that main yarn off your finger and then give it a tight pull like that. And then take your main yarn and pull it through that loop that was on your finger. That leaves 2 loops. Yarn over and go through those 2 loops and chain 1. So that was a set of 2 puffs. Now we're going to do a set of 3 puffs. Right here into this spot. Right here into this eye of the star where we've been working. And then we're going to come over here to the next, start a new one right here in the eye of this star. Alright, 3 puffs now. So draw up a bit. Yarn over and go into this spot here 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Then down here in the spot that we've been working in 3 times, yarn over. 1, 2, 3. And our 3rd puff goes right over here into the eye of the next star. Yarn over and go into it 3 times. There's 1, 2, and there's 3. All those loops on our hook, but we cannot let our main yarn go through all of them. So grab your yarn, go through all of them, and then you got that one that's on your finger. Take it off your finger with the hook, pull it tight. Then you can take your main yarn and pull it through that loop. Got 2 loops left. Yarn over and go through those 2 and chain 1. So we just did 3 loops there, or 3 puffs. Now we're back to 2 puffs again. You ready? So right here and right here. Do it. Draw up a bit. Go into that spot 3 times. There's 1, 2, 3. And the next spot is right here. Yarn over and go into it 3 times. There's 1, 2, 3. And we're going to pull through all those loops, but never let that main yarn go all the way through. Keep your finger there to block it. Like that. And then go ahead and take the hook, take your hook, take it off your finger, and then pull it tight. And then you can take the main yarn and pull it through that 1 loop. 2 loops remain. Yarn over and go through those 2 and chain 1. Alright, so that was 2 loops. Now we're back to 3 loops again. 3 loops. Or 3 puffs. I keep saying loops. 3 puffs. Puff here. Puff back into this spot, which will finish out that star. And then we'll start a new one right here in this eye of the star over here. So 3 puffs this time. Ready? yarn over and go 3 times. That's 1, 2, 3. Next one goes right down here in this spot. Yarn over and go through 3 times. 1, 2, and there's 3. So there's 2 puffs. And we got to do one more right over here to start a new one in that spot. Yarn over, go through, draw up 3 times. That's 1, 2, 3. All those loose, so we can't let it, never let that main yarn go all the way through. So grab a yarn, go through all those loops like that. Now take your hook and take that loop off your finger and pull your main yarn tight. All right. Now you can take that main yarn and pull it through that one loop that was on your finger. 2 loops remain, yarn over, go through all 2, and chain 1. All right, so that was 3 puffs. Now we're back to 2 puffs again. So we go right back into this spot that we just made, and right here in this spot. Ready? Pull up. Go into that spot, yarn over, go in that spot 3 times. There's 1, 2, and 3. And then this spot right down here. Yarn over and go do it 3 times. 1, 2, and 3. There's 2 puffs. Go through all of them. Don't let your main yarn go through like that. Take your hook, get that yarn off your finger, pull your main yarn tight, tighten it up like that. And now you take your main yarn and pull it through that one loop that was on your finger, yarn over and go through the 2 remaining loops that are on your hook, and chain 1. So we just did 2 puffs. Now we're going to do 3 puffs. 3 puffs again. 3 puffs. So puff here, puff back into the same spot, and then we puff right here into, this is going to be the center of our next star. All right, let's do it. Yarn over and 3 times. There's 1, 2, and there's 3. That's 1 puff. Come right down here. Finish out the star by yarning over and go through it 3 times. There's 1, 2, 3, and then we gotta do another puff right here into the eye of that star. Yarn over and go into it 3 times. There's 1, 2, and 3. Gotta go through all those loops. Don't let your main yarn go all the way through like that. Take that main yarn, or take that yarn that's on your finger off with your hook. Pull your main yarn tight like that. Take your main yarn and pull it through that one loop that was on your finger. Yarn over and go through the 2 there, and chain 1. So we just did 3 puffs. Okay, now we are back to 2 puffs. All right, right here and right here. Puff it up, puff it up. 1, 2, 3, and then right here we do 1, 2, 3. So you got your 2 puffs. Go through all of them. Got your finger blocking that main yarn. Take that one off. Take it off your finger. Pull your main yarn tight. Tighten up the puffs. Now pull that main yarn through that one loop. Yarn over and go through the remaining loops. and chain 1. Okay, all right, 3 puffs, 3 puffs. Time to do 3 puffs. 1 here, 1 here, and then 1 where our stitch marker is. All right, draw up a bit, yarn over, do our puff. That's 1 puff right down here. That's 2 puffs, and then the spot where our stitch marker is. That's 3 puffs. You go through all 3 of them. Like that. Take that yarn off your hook. Or take that yarn off your finger with your hook. Pull your main yarn tight like that. And then you can take your main yarn and pull it through that 1 loop. Yarn over and go through 2 and 1. Alright, we're not done yet. Now, we just did 3 puffs. Now to end this round, we have to do another set of 3 puffs, alright? We have to do it right here back in this spot. Back in the spot with our stitch marker. And then right over here, the eye of the star on the other side of the stitch marker. Alright, and this is going to end round 2. So at the end we did a set of 3 puffs twice. So this is our second set of 3 puffs. There's 1 puff. Now we got to go back into the spot where our stitch marker is. Two puffs, and then our 3rd puff goes right over here into the eye of that star on the other side of the stitch marker. See how easy it becomes? It becomes really easy after a while. But if you're still struggling, that's fine. Just keep trying. Put your finger there, yarn over, go through all those puffs like that. Take that yarn off your finger. Pull your main yarn, tighten it up. And then you can take your main yarn and pull it through that 1 loop. Got 2 loops left, yarn over and go through those 2. Chain 1. That ends row 2. So you should have now 12 puffs around 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Now we're going to move, pull this up so you don't lose it. We're going to move our stitch marker up to this spot that we just ended in. It's good to keep the stitch marker. Don't do it without the stitch marker. I tried doing it without the stitch marker because I hate using stitch markers. Didn't work out well for me. Alright. I highly recommend the stitch marker. So this is what it looks like after row 2. So you got your center star, you can see. And then you should have 12 puffs around it. Alright, for row 2. Alright, so why don't we go ahead and start row 3. Again, this is going to be sets of 2 puffs and sets of 3 puffs, just done a little bit differently, or in a little bit different order. Okay, we're going to start out with a set of 2 puffs. So we're going to go right here, starting where the stitch marker is, and then right here where the eye of that star is. Alright, so draw up, make your first puff. And then come on over here and make another puff. That, yarn over and go through all the puffs. Take that one off your finger. pull your main yarn tight like that. Now take your main yarn and pull it through that loop that was on your finger. Yarn over and go through the remaining 2 and chain 1. So you did a set of 2 puffs. Now we're going to do a set of 3 puffs. So right here where we just ended, and then right here in the same spot that we just worked in, and then over here in the eye of the next star. All right, let's do it. Pull that up a little bit. There's 1 puff. And we're going to come right down here, finish out this star by doing a puff here. Two puffs, and the next one goes right over here. There's 3 puffs. Go through all of them. That. Take that 1 loop off your finger, pull that main yarn tight, and then you can take your main yarn and pull it through that loop that was on your finger, and the remaining yarn over and go through the remaining 2 and chain 1. Alright, that was a set of 3 puffs. Now we're going to do a set of 2 puffs. So right here we just ended, and then right here where we just worked as well. You ready? Okay, pull up a bit, puff here, and then puff right here. Yarn over and go through all those loops. Take that loop off your finger. Pull your main yarn tight. Take your main yarn and go through that loop that was on your finger. Yarn over, go through the remaining 2 loops, and chain 1. So now we're going to start the repeat of row 3 now. So what we're going to do now, so we did 2 puffs, 3 puffs, 2 puffs. Now what we're going to do is 2 sets of 3 puffs, and then 1 set of two puffs. 2 sets of 3 puffs, 1 set of 2 puffs. 2 sets of 3 puffs, 1 set of 2 puffs. Does that make sense? It's weird, but so now we got to do 2 sets of 3 puffs. So let's go ahead and work our 3 puffs. Here, here, and here. That's where they go. Draw up. There's 1 puff. The next one goes right there. Two puffs, and the next one goes right there. Go through all those loops, do what we do here. So that was 1 set of 3 puffs, and again we got to do another set of 3 puffs. So here, here, and the next one goes right over here. Let's do it. Draw up. Just 1 puff, then right here, finish out the star. Just 2 puffs, and the next one comes right here. Go through all of them like we do. All right, so we did our 2 sets of 3 puffs. Now we're going to do 1 set of 2 puffs. So we're going to puff here, and then we're going to puff here. One puff, and the next one goes right here. Two puffs. Close it off how we do. All right, so we did 2 puffs. Now we got to do 2 sets of 3 puffs. So, puff in here, puff in there, and puff in there. Ready? Let's do it. Draw up a bit for our first puff. One puff. Next one goes right down here. Two puffs. Next one right over here. Now we gotta yarn over and go through all of them. Do what we do here. So that was 1 set of 3 puffs. Now we gotta do another set of 3 puffs. So we're doing puff in here to finish out that star, coming over here and puffing right here in that spot. Here we go. Three puffs. All right, so we did our 2 sets of 3 puffs. Now we're going to do 1 set of 2 puffs. So right here in this spot we just made, and right here in this spot. One puff. Two puffs. Okay, now we're going to do our 2 sets of 3 puffs. Sorry my video was so long. The crown is a bit confusing, so I just kind of wanted to stay with you the whole time while we finish the crown. After that though, it's the same row all the way down. All right, so 2 sets of 3 puffs. Here we go. Right here, and right there. 1 puff, two puffs, three puffs, all right, that was one set of 3. Let's do another. Right here we just ended, right here to finish out that star, and then right over here to start another star. Let's do it. One puff. Two puffs. Three puffs. All right, so we did our 2 sets of 3 puffs. Now we're going to do a set of 2 puffs. So right there and right there. Two puffs. Okay, now I need 3 puffs. 3 puffs. Here, here, and here. All right. There's 1 puff. Come down here. There's 2 puffs. And then over here. Three puffs. Gotta get them off your hook like this. Chain 1. All right, 3 puffs again. Right here, right here, right over here. One puff. Two puffs. Three puffs. Just like that. All right, so that was 2 sets of 3. All right, 2 puffs here and here. 1 puff, two puffs. Get those 2 puffs off your hook. Preferably without splitting your yarn like I just did. Well, that don't look so good. And chain 1. Now, we're coming near the end, but it may not, we have to do 3 sets of 3 puffs. It may not look like they're all going to fit, but they're going to fit, all right? So in the end, we do 3 sets of 3 puffs. We have been doing 2 sets in between, but now we're going to do 3 sets to finish it. So 1, 2, 3 be our first one. You ready? There's 1 puff, and down here. Two puffs right here. Three puffs. Okay, get those puffs off your hook. Okay, so that was 1 set of 3. The next one is going to be 1, 2, and then into this spot right here, which would be our 3rd puff. 1 puff, 2 puff, 3 puffs. So this will be our 2nd set of 3 puffs. It's 1. There's 2 puffs. Last one goes right here into where the stitch marker is. That's 3 puffs. Let's take those off our hook. Now we got to do 1 more set of 3 puffs. So to finish out round 3. So we're going to puff here. The 2nd of the 3rd puff is going to go here where the stitch marker is. And then the 3rd puff of the set of 3 is going to go over here on the opposite side of the stitch marker. And that will finish out the round here. There's 1 puff, and then back in the spot with the stitch marker. There's 2 puffs, and then over here on the other side of the stitch marker, we puff. And there's 3 puffs. Take those off your hook. Man, that's showing splitting on me. It's splitting. There we go. There we go. That finishes out that round. Now what you want to do is move your stitch marker up to right there where we in that spot. So pull that up, put your hook in there, move your stitch marker up without tearing up your puff stitches. Now when you count around, you should have 18 puffs. This will be the end of round 3. We only have one more round of increases, all right, and then that's it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So that's what it's looking like. Round 4 will be the last row of increases before we start the 1 row repeat that makes the hat go down. So like I said, these increases can be a little bit odd, so that's why I'm kind of just sticking with you here. So row 4, last row increases, we are going to do 2 puffs to start out. So right here where the stitch marker is, and then right here. And then here. Okay, get those off your hook. Like that. Now we're going to do 2 sets of 3 puffs. All right, so puff, puff, puff. Just 1 puff. Just 2 puffs. Just 3 puffs. Take those off your hook. Okay, that was 1 set of 3. Now we're going to do another set of 3 puffs. So here, here, and here. One puff. 2 puffs. Three puffs. Get them off your hook. I don't know why my yarn keeps splitting. That's annoying to me. Sorry about that. Okay, so that was 2 sets of 3 puffs. All right, now we're gonna do 2 puffs. So 1 here and 1 here. And right there. Those off your hook. Man, oh man. All right, this is my sample swatch. I wouldn't leave that like that. All right, so now what we're gonna do is 3 sets of 3 puffs. And then we're gonna do 1 set of 2 puffs. And that's what we're going to repeat all the way around until we get to near the end. So it'll be 3 sets of 3 puffs, and then 1 set of just 2 puffs, and then 3 sets of 3 puffs, and then just 1 set of 2 puffs. All right, and you want to continue that repeat around. So you start out with puff here, puff here, puff here. That'd be a set of 3, and then you'll do another set of 3 and another set of 3, and then you'll do a set of 2 puffs, 1 set of 2 puffs, and then again you'll do 3 sets of 3 puffs, and then 1 set of 2 puffs. All right, so we just kind of continue that around. 3 sets of 3, 1 set of 2, 3 sets of 3, 1 set of 2. All right, and I'll meet back up with you kind of over in this area. All right, so I've repeated that pattern for round 4. I just did a set of 2 puffs, 1, 2, and this is where I'm at. So here's my stitch marker, and then I have 1, 2, if you count this one, 3 eyes of the stars, 1, 2, 3, and then the stitch marker. Now this is how we have to end this round. We have to do 4 sets of 3 puffs. I know it doesn't look like it'll fit, but it'll fit. All right, so this is how we end the round. So this is where you should be at. After you do a set of 2 puffs, you should have 1 eye of the star there, 1 eye of the star there, 1 eye there, and then the one that your stitch marker is in. And we have to do 4 sets of 3. So let's just do them real quick. So the first one's here, here, and here. There's 1 puff. Two puffs. 3 puffs. Get those off your hook. And then we're going to do another set of 3 puffs. So here, here, and here. So pull it up. It's 1 puff down here. Two puffs right over here. It's 3 puffs. Get them off your hook. All right, so that's 2 sets of 3 puffs. We still have to do 2 more sets. The next one is 3 puffs, 1 here, 1 here, and then 1 in the eye of the star. Okay, get those off our hook. And that is 3 sets of 3 puffs. We got to do 1 more. So puff in here, The second puff goes here where our stitch marker is, and the last puff goes into the stitch or the eye of the star after the stitch marker, and that will be 4 sets of 3. Here we go. Get those 3 puffs off your hook. Chain 1, pull that up. That should end around 4. Flatten it out. You should have 24 puffs all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Boom. All right. We're done increasing. We're done increasing. So this next row, 5th row, we're on row 4 now. Or row 5 now. So this is going to be the row that we're going to repeat. So we're going to go move our stitch marker up to right here where we just, the eye of that star. All right, so now we're increasing. This is how we're going to work all the rounds now from now on. And after a few rounds, our hat to start looking kind of normal, I guess. So we're going to start out every round from now on with a set of 2 puffs. All right, so starting right here and then right here. Get those 2 puffs off your hook. All right, so now we're going to do sets of 3 puffs all the way around until we make it near the end. And we're going to do something special at the end, but we're just going to work sets of 3 puffs now, all the way until we get close to the end here. So sets of 3 puffs here, here, and here. And this is the row that we're going to be repeating the whole time. Get those 3 puffs off your hook. And my yarn is bleeding. All right. And then again, another set of 3 puffs here, here, and here. So we're just going to continue around here. Remember, this is row 5. This is a repeat row. So continue around with 3 sets of puffs. 3 sets of puffs. Okay, and I'll meet back up with you near the end. All right, so I'm coming around to the end, and I've worked 3 sets of 3 puffs all the way. You can see it's kind of starting to, it may look a little small, but don't worry, it stretches and it'll work itself out to the size that it's supposed to be. But anyways, so once you make it all the way around here and you have just a set of 3 puffs, you have 1 empty space here before your stitch marker. What we're going to do to end this round, this is the repeat round, is a set of 4 puffs. All right, so 1 here where we just ended, 1 here in the eye of this star, 1 here where the stitch marker is, and then 1 here on the other side of the stitch marker. So this is always how we end this round. with a set of 4 puffs. There's 2 puffs. Third one goes right here where your stitch marker is. It's a lot of loops, and the 4th one goes right over here on the other side of the stitch marker. All right. Now we're going to get all these loops off our hook in the same manner. Probably go a little slower though. There we go. And then pull them nice and tight. Like that. Now the reason why we do it that way, the 4 puffs at the end, is so we can be somewhat in line with the stitch marker down here. So with this, that ends that round. So we would pull our stitch marker up. It will cock at an angle a bit, but keeps it more in line doing it this way. And there you go. Now you just keep repeating that row. So remember, you would start out the next row. We're just going to repeat what we just did with 2 puffs. Always start out with 2 puffs. That's 2 puffs. Like that. And then you do your sets of 3 puffs all the way around, until you get back over here where you have 1 empty spot here and this one, and then you would do a set of 4 puffs. Now every time you finish that round out, you'll have 24 puff stitches on all the way around the edges, okay? Every time. Now you just want to keep repeating that and repeating that and repeating that, and I'll let you know here in a minute how many rows I do. Work on my hat in my other yarn a little bit longer. It's nice though, yeah? I think so. You'll get it, don't worry. Remember, if it takes you a couple of tries, it takes you a couple of tries. It takes you 10 tries, it takes you 10 tries. That's just the way it is. Now you will notice that there'll be 4 or 5, I can't remember, of the stars that will only have 5 1 2 3 4 5 points on them, and the rest will have 6. So you can see this one has 5, this one has 6 6 6, and then this one has 5, and then we got 6 6 6, and this one has 5. So that's just the way it is. That's kind of like that's just how it has to be. So ain't no getting around it, but you know what? You can't even tell. So just keep repeating that row. Remember, you start out with 2 puffs, and then you'd work your sets of 3 puffs all the way around until you get over here to where you have 1 open eye of the star and your spot where your stitch marker is, and that's where you'll do your 4. It'd be boom, 2 3, and the 4th one would be right here where we just started. All right. I'll let you know how many rows in just a second. All right, so here is what I got. So I did lose track of the number of rows that I did, but I'm going to go ahead and show you how you can tell. So you find your center star. You can flip it inside out there, and you can see, tug on your tail there, and find your center star. All right. Okay. So once you find that, I'm going to count the center. That's number 1. I'm going to count down the stars to the bottom. Now they're going to go at an angle. I'll tell you how many stars there are. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9, and then a half a row of stars. So 9 full stars, And then I have 1/2 for a row that isn't finished, I guess. So, but the best way to do it would be to take a measure. So put it in half here, like this. And get our tape measure. And measure it from the top down. And mine is right at about 7 inches. Pretty close. 6 3/4, 7 inches. Now I'm going to add a brim to mine. If you don't want to do that, you can continue doing this for as long as you'd like it to be. I usually do hats. For me, I like mine a little bit lower, down by my eyebrows. I usually go 8 inches. You can also make this a slouchy if you'd like. I always, slouchies, I always recommend to go 9 or 10 inches. That's if you don't want to put a brim. I'm stopping here at about 7 inches or so, 6 3/4 to 7 inches. Like I said, you can go further if you want. Try it on, see how you like it. It's a little short right now for me, but I'm going to add a brim. So here's what I'm going to do to add a brim. You can add any type of brim that you like, actually. I'm going to do I don't know. I know I got to get some single crochet on it first, though. All right, so here's where I am. I'm at after I finish my row, I move my stitch marker up to where the center of the star, to where we would start again, all right? So first off, I got to get some single crochet around the edges here, all right? So I'm going to chain 1. Now, we know that we have 24 of these puffs along the sides, all right? And that also means that we have 24 little eyes of our stars. So if I got 24 eyes with stars and 24 puffs here, that's going to give me, if I was to put a single crochet in each puff and a single crochet in the eye of every star, that would only give me 48 single crochets. I'm trying to get 60. So we're going to have to do a little bit of, this is what we're going to do. All right, so we started here. This is the eye of the star that we just ended in, all right? Did I chain 1 already? I'm going to chain 1. I don't know if I did. It didn't look like it, but if I did, it came out. So I'm going to go back into this first eye of this first star, and I'm going to work 1 single crochet into it, all right? Now I'm going to do this first row as neatly as possible. And now, because we're going to be working on the side of these puff stitches. So I'm going to put 1 single crochet in the side of this puff. But what I want to kind of see, what am I going to do for that here? I want it to be as neat as possible. Yeah, I'm going to take the top of the puff here. So the top 2 stitches of the puff and single crochet. Remember, you do it as neatly as possible. Now, since I'm trying to get a total of 60 stitches, it's kind of what we want. I put 1 single crochet in the eye of the first star. Now this next eye of the next star, I'm going to put 2 single crochets into that one. Okay? 1 and 2. And then I'm going to come here to the next puff, and I'm going to put 1 single crochet in those top 2 loops as neatly as possible. Now the next eye of the star, I'm only going to put 1 single crochet in it. So the eyes of the stars is going to get 1 single crochet, and then the next eye will get 2 single crochets. And then the next eye of the star will get 1 single crochet, and the next eye will get 2. So every other eye of the star will get 2 single crochets. Now the puffs, they'll each get 1 single crochet, and that should give me a total of 60 stitches, 60 singles when I make it back around. But I just want to make sure I do it as neat as possible around this edge row of the puff stitches. You don't want to get more 1 single in the eye of this next star. You don't want to get more than the first 2 loops of the puff stitches. That way they all look pretty similar in appearance. I don't know. I'm kind of picky about brims of hats. I'm picky about seams. I'm picky about color control. And I'm particular about brims of my hats. Okay, the next eye of the star gets 2. I don't know why. I'm an oddball. And then we're at a puff stitch, and I just want to grab those top 2 loops, no more. And don't want to stretch it out too much, neat as possible. Now that next eye will get 1 single. And then the next puff, I just want to get those top 2 loops. And the next eye will get 2 singles, so you get the gist of it, right? I'm going to do this all the way around, alright? Puff, top 2 loops there. And the next eye will get 1 single. Alright, I'm going to repeat this around, and I'll meet back up with you at our stitch marker. I think that might be okay. Alright. Alright, so I made it around, I moved my stitch marker, and I have 60 stitches. I had to take it out because I did mess up here. If you see me mess up up here in the front, I did. I put a single crochet, 1 single crochet and 2 stars together up there, so, and it should have been every other. So anyways, I fixed it. I now have 60 stitches. So what I'm going to do is end by slip stitching into my first single crochet. Now there's a couple that you could do your brim any way you want, actually. You can do a single crochet in the back loops. You could do you can do whatever you want. I think I'm just going to do, since it's such a beautiful stitch, I don't really want to take away from it, so I'm just going to do rows of single crochet. I'm going to bring my stitch marker back. Dang it, I hate stitch markers. Alright, I'm going to bring my stitch marker back, but what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to chain 1, go back into that same stitch and single crochet, and I'm going to work a single crochet in every stitch all the way around until I make it back to my starting point. And you should have 60 stitches when you make it back around. So I'm just doing just a plain single crochet brim, just to not take away from the beauty of what is the Jasmine stitch. Alright, remember, you can do it differently. You can do it however you want. So 1 single in every stitch, and I'll meet back up with you at our starting point. Alright, so I've made it around. So we did that, I've done that first row of single crochet where we kind of went into the tops of the puffs, and then I did another one, and I have 60 stitches still. So I'm going to put a stitch marker here so I don't have to slip stitch anymore. And I'm going to go around and just do rounds of, so I'm going to jump to my first single crochet here. And single crochet into it. And I'm just going to go around and do rounds of single crochet for however long I want my brim. So that would depend on the person. You know, how low do you like to wear your hat? How some people, like I said, I like to wear mine a bit lower. So what I'll do is I'll probably do a round, try it on. If it works, it works. If not, I'll do another one, you know. But I'm going to continue around. When I make it back to my stitch marker, if I think that I need another round, I'll just move my stitch marker up, go around again. I'll let you know here in just a second how many total rounds I do for this hat. So right now I'm working on number 3, if we're counting our very first one. 1, 2, 3. Alright, so I did a total, counting that very first row that we did, the single crochets in the top of the puffs, I did a total of 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You do as many as you'd like, or whatever type of brim you'd like. But after that, I made it back to my stitch marker. I'm just going to slip stitch into the next stitch and then tie it off. And I will, well, hide my tails, and I will be finished. Stitch marker out of there. We won't need him right now. Alright, then that's it. I hope that you enjoyed my tutorial. Hopefully that you were able to follow along, okay? Remember, once you get to going on, it's not hard as it. It's actually, people think it's kind of a hard stitch, but it's really not. Once you get it down, it becomes easy, just as all of them do. Alright, so I'm going to hide my tails and I'm going to be finished. So, remember, if you enjoyed this video, give it a like. I'd appreciate that. Maybe a comment below. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button and check out my other tutorials. I have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. Anything that you could ever want to make. Alright, so that's it from me. That's it for this time. I'll see you guys on my next video, alright? I like it. Bye, guys.